This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Well, Brandon, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much, dude. This is Brandon Bausback, my favorite Las Vegas resident.
Thank you. What an honor.
So, Brandon, I thought the first question I'd ask you is, how did you meet me?
Well, I was doing events with Sahara Event Center in Las Vegas under my first company, Evil Twins Entertainment. And there was a time when COVID happened and events were out. And so I was in between jobs and looking for work. And so I started reaching out to all the business partners that I had met in the industry and asking if I could work with them or for them even. And so Dan from the Sahara Event Center asked me to rebuild and basically convert his basketball court for him. And I did that a few times, and eventually he told me that a friend of his needed help as well. And so, he told me to bring a team to this convention center downtown Las Vegas. And that was the day I was introduced to Mark McCormack.
Yeah.
And that's when you told me that you need a labor force of about 30 people to build the NCAA basketball championship basketball courts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I rose to that challenge.
Yeah, no, you absolutely did. Yeah, it was really fun for me, actually. I met a bunch of your dudes and girls and guys that came. I call everyone dude. It's kind of a genderless term for me. And it was awesome. I mean, you guys came in. I think we put down 12 courts, right?
Oh, it was 11, yeah.
Was it 11?
77,000 square feet. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then we went and tore them down like 3 weeks later. And so, kind of tell me, so people understand. People ask me a lot, because we do about NBA courts and we do all these NCAA courts and events and tournaments and all different things. What really goes into putting down a court?
So it is simple, but it is strenuous and it is tedious. It's like an alphanumeric graph system. And so basically you just have to read from A to Z or, to H or so, because there's only about half of the alphabet worth of courts from left to right. Then the numbers as well. And you kind of work your way down from left to right diagonally. Or if it's a zipper court, you would work from the center and work your way out.
Yeah.
As I'm sure, of course, but it's pretty simple. As soon as you get in there, it's just about building a system to minimize the actual labor and make it as efficient as possible, because you don't want to be there all day, but you could be very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is. So when you guys were putting on a court, were we running 15-man crews per court?
Yeah, for that operation, we definitely had a bigger team. Typically now I do jobs with like 7 people. It takes like 6 hours or less, maybe.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. It's like a full day's pay, full day's work for them, so it's pretty fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we ended up, I don't know, were you over there with me at that other warehouse picking up the black court?
I didn't personally go, but the team did, yes.
Yeah. I think we did a smaller crew over there because we had to pick that court up, bring it over there, put it back down, and then we had to pick it back up and then take it back over there and reset it up.
Gotta love it. Job security.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for you guys, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, and you still do some other courts down there too for other people now, right?
Absolutely. Thanks to you, Mark. I actually have met some other people in the field in Las Vegas specifically.
Yeah.
And I've been building my name up, and I've even created a company called OG Stage Productions thanks to you.
Nice.
So yes, it's not licensed yet, but I am working on becoming licensed in this and other companies. But OG Stage Productions is a staffing agency. And until recently, we just did blue-collar jobs in the basketball industry. But now we're moving it into the events industry and offering the same people white-collar jobs, selling tickets, tables, bottles, and anything else like sponsorships for events.
Oh, very cool.
So there'll be like a 60-man labor contract at Illuminarium in Area 15 in Las Vegas, where they work as in-house promoters, but they also build the stages and basketball courts on the side or whatever anyone asks of us.
So kind of explain promotions more. What really goes into that?
Well, first you create an idea, and it has to be so compelling that people actually want to attend. If it's not compelling, then you have a lot of competition. But once you create some kind of theme or general event that is attractive for your demographic, then you start to target your market based off of that, and you start to reach out with scripts or videos or any other kind of marketing strategies you can come up with. And you start to build like a clientele or a following, and then you offer them a ticket, and then they come to the event. And there's a lot that goes into it, but basically the idea is to fill the room so that the bar is selling, the sponsors are selling, the vendors are selling, and obviously you have a good enough time, the people want to come back.
Yeah. Because you're trying to create events that will allow you guys to do multiple events, right?
Yes. So I do like to keep a variety of events on deck at the same time. I started with raves, but I've learned in Las Vegas, it's a beautiful place to learn about events. You can do so many different kinds, from conventions to award ceremonies to weddings to birthdays to raves, club scenes, like it just goes on. And so a day came where I realized, the variety that I could get into, and so I started to expand. And with that, it just really opened my eyes to all the other businesses that I could run as well.
Yeah. So kind of tell the guys, what's the difference between a rave and like a concert?
So a rave, it all depends on the music or the main attraction that you would create, the theme. And so a rave from a concert, the main difference is the type of music. At a rave, you would play electric dance music, EDM, and then at a concert, you would typically hear like rap, rock, reggae, something like that.
Yeah.
But I do believe that EDM is a futuristic genre, and as the years go on, the concerts are becoming more raves, and they're becoming one essentially. And you'll hear EDM on movie soundtracks or main stage concerts, mainstream concerts now. Yeah. So they're growing together, but there are little differences.
Because I see, like, with raves, concerts historically for me, I'm a little bit older than you guys. It's like, bands on stage, people buy tickets, you kind of crowd the stage. It seems, and you listen to music, right? And it's super loud. Raves seem to be more of an event where you have like dancers and, like even like almost vendors around sometimes to like sell you different things and kind of be an interactive part, almost like a 360 degree, am I kind of on the right track?
Yeah, so a lot of the rave throwers in Vegas actually don't think like me. They just want to do raves, and so they don't work with sponsors. They hardly work with vendors, and they only sell tickets. And so I learned from a lot of experience that basically if you take the ticket money and try to spend that on like your overhead, you're going to fail. And so all that ticket money should be something you can take home at the end of the day. And you should learn how to pay for everything through sponsors and vendors and everything. And that's how you become the biggest in the city. But either that or you just have money to push into it already. So The biggest in the city, they had money, investors, instead of having to create it for themselves. They had other people working with them. But yeah, so I'm one of the only rave organizers in Las Vegas. I would say that I'm not just a rave organizer. That's why that I can do this. Yeah. But I bring in like the corporate side into the raves as well. Because the rave is like underground a little bit. It's more underground than concerts. But when you bring in corporate sponsors, it increases the awareness, and also you don't have to spend the ticket money on the events, basically the overhead.
Right. So when you guys do a rave, how do you market that? Is it mostly through social media, or is it?
So majority of it is through Instagram. That's my personally favorite social media. But we do a lot of canvassing as well. There's a lot of different ways that we can promote an event. Like, for example, one year I had my first festival, and I wanted to do something bigger than ever. So I rented an LED box truck, and I told him to drive around one of the biggest sold-out events in Las Vegas that weekend. And it was all in the same demographic. So as the box truck LED is running a circuit around the venue in the parking lots, everyone that's going to that sold-out show is seeing the box truck and calling me, saying, "Oh my gosh, you're on this screen, you know what I mean? I'm definitely going to your event." So, you just get creative and you try to put as much money as you can into that marketing budget, and not from your own pocket, but in a way, so that to explain it is like this. So like if you want to sell out an event, obviously you have to sell tickets online, you have to go out and canvas, you have to create, pop-up events to kind of build the hype, but also you can work with sponsors that, let's say for example, if I gave like 250 hard copies to a sponsor that runs a smoke shop, they would give out like a ticket per purchase, and then they would also create like an ad with their budget. So I would sell them like a sponsorship package, and that would include media and coverage from the event and a booth, and also the hard copy tickets, and it would raise sales in their business, but also bring people to my business. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it's a super cool. I think it's a concept with a lot of people, when they think they're going to get into business, they never think, I should put on events. Events just seem overwhelming to a lot of people.
This is an accumulation of everything I've learned in events, and I'm a big manifester. Like, I like to think about how can I manifest my destiny. And so there's a saying, basically, the best way to get to success is to, I'm trying to remember the words now. Basically, try to be in the right place. That's it. Okay, so to find success, 1, be in the right place at the right time, and 2, to do something about it when you get there.
Yeah.
And so with events, I can create a world for myself and invite anyone that I want to do business with and create a theme that they like and that they would really enjoy and attend and come back and be your friend because they love what you create. Yeah. And then while you're at this event or after the event, when you've showed them happiness and all this greatness, then you bring up, you also have business that you can do as well. And so it's really just being able to meet the people that you want and showing them who you really are that gives you that opportunity.
Yeah.
But, hosting events is the only way you might be able to get those people in the same room.
Yeah. So how many venues do you guys use in Vegas?
We've been over Fremont, on the Strip, off the Strip, and Henderson, and even outside of the city and Sovereign Nation, which is Indian tribe land.
Oh, cool.
So we've done all kinds of events, from underground to like corporate events to award ceremonies to conventions and trade shows. But the venues change depending on the show. And so when we walk into, let's say the progression of venues. So at first we just started for whatever venue that could take us. Obviously there's a different deal per venue, and they'll ask you things like bar minimum, house rental fee, if they're going to get a split of the door, if you're going to get a split of the bar, and if they're going to get a split of any miscellaneous profits like vendors, booths, sponsors, etc. And after you guys forge a deal, basically, you would begin shooting content and just kind of sell out the venue. But to answer your question, sorry, we have multiple venues around the Strip. We started with smaller venues like 250 capacity to our largest venue, which I was just in last weekend, which is about 1,200 capacity. The Sahara Event Center was bigger, but this is the best venue, I should say, because it's inside of Area 15, and it's the most futuristic venue I've ever seen in my entire life. And basically, we have the best deal as well. I've been offered an in-house position. Yeah. And so this is another great piece of experience that I learned as well just recently. In the past, I would walk up to a venue and say, how much would it cost to do an event on this night? They would charge me the max amount because they know, they know that I would pay it and that I'm basically desperate to host my event. You know what I mean? But the best deal that I could have come up with is walking up to them and saying, I want to do events with you for the next year or two. And I know that I can raise this much profit and I can bring in all the other promoters that I've been working with, but I don't have to pay a single rental fee. And I can put on anyone that I want and also extend that to them so they don't have to pay. Or I could charge them and make money. And so that's what I'm getting into now. And I'm getting into working with multiple venues, multiple promoters. Instead of just creating my own events and doing my own thing, I help everyone else out. And this is why I came up with this. I was putting everyone else on, and they were my best promoters at first, and now they started their own underground companies. And now everyone's hosting an event the same weekend, and none of them have results because the market is crowded.
Right.
And so when I see that, I know that I need to level up and start supplying all of them. And so I started working with the venues and offering consultation and management services to all the promoters. And now everyone's calling me nonstop, asking me to help them make sure their event is successful.
Yeah.
And so what it takes to facilitate that is a huge ground force, a huge labor force. And that's something that I've always had, is just people that want to work because they know that, they see me working hard and succeeding, working hard, and they want some of that too. And they're willing to do the work. I tell them that's what it takes, and they'll do it.
How do you find your labor force?
Well, it's usually performers. That's the best part. So I just go out and do what I like, even though it doesn't make as much money as my other projects, which is fire spinning, Golden Soul Circus. And if you become great at something, you'll inspire other people to try it for themselves. And eventually I created another community based off of that. And so I've created multiple communities off that same premise. And now all these people are looking up to me because they know my track record. And so they want to be like that, and they know that it takes this to get that. And they're listening. And everyone tells me it's so hard to find kids that want to work. But, I'm surrounded by people my age that are looking for money. So
no, you guys are absolutely an anomaly. It's, I own two, subcontracting businesses, and it is hard to find labor. It really is. Until we come find you, because, you just have unlimited labor. And to me, it was always funny, right? Because I'm 40 now, and I used to think I was young, and I'm not. But we were doing all those, the basketball flooring, you and you guys and your crew, it was just pounding EDM music, and just putting these things down, and everyone's happy, and everyone's just jamming and doing their thing. And then, the more I got to talk to you guys, the more it was like, oh yeah, he's a knife guy, or he's a sword guy, or he's a fire dancer. And I was just like, what the hell do you guys do on the weekends? Like, how do you find all these people? Like, it's really cool.
I think the best saying to kind of capture why they come to me, they're actually not coming to me. They're coming to run away to the circus.
Yeah.
And the saying means they're looking for family because they don't have one. And they have this talent because their family taught them. And now it's the same thing. They're coming to me because they have nothing else, and I'm showing them a way out. And this is feeding them, changing their lives. And the best thing about it is because of the gift you've given me, it's extended to them. And now I've gotten an even like more advanced stage production job where I build corporate shows in Las Vegas, the biggest in the world. And I feel like a small fry, but I'm learning all of this stuff, and they're coming with me now. And so now our resumes are so much stronger. Yeah. And when we do things like have fun, build the circus, all of these multifaceted people can help build it stronger and support it more.
Yeah.
And so that's the main goal, is to give the opportunity to everyone so that we could stand stronger as a circus.
Yeah.
Or a family.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys do. When you guys are, like when you look at yourself kind of in the mirror, what made you want to get into this? Like when did you actually make the decision, I'm going to be a business owner?
So that's a long story, but to keep it brief, basically I had a much different plan coming out of high school. I was enlisted in the Marines. I was going to be a neurologist, and I like psychology as well. So I knew that psychology didn't pay that well. Yeah. Wanted to get into neurology because it was similar, and I liked the brain. And then things like life has a way of deciding which way you're going to go for you sometimes. And I'm a water sign. I like to go with the flow. Yeah. So as soon as I seen things shifting for me, I just went full force into it. And so instead of going into the Marines or to be a doctor or anything like that, I ended up just staying in Las Vegas and starting businesses. But it wasn't before that I had reached a really low point in my life where it felt like rock bottom in a way. And there's a saying by J.K. Rowling, I believe, rock bottom became the foundation on which I rebuilt my life. Yeah. I like that saying a lot because it felt like that. And it really is a reality check when you hit rock bottom because it shows you like there's nowhere else to go but up. Yeah. And at that moment, I felt like I'd almost lost my life. Like it was like a near-death experience, and I wasn't going to ever take anything for granted again. And so I've always had this fire in me, but that really set it aflame. And so I just set out into the city as I'd been alone since 14, basically, pretty much figuring my way out and mentoring through people instead of my parents. Yeah. And so the very first business that I ever did was with Dylan and Evil Twins. Basically, we were just friends hosting a bonfire with other friends in the raver community, and basically 600 people showed up, and we didn't even promote it. We just said, desert rave, and just, we didn't fire perform it all then. We did a little acrobatics, but we just, we were just kids that liked the music. And then basically I just remember like riding down into, it was at this place in Henderson called the Three Kids Mine, or the Wheels of Misfortune. And so it's a graffiti graveyard that's a really hot spot for like photography, fire performing, or underground events occasionally. But we actually went there first and hosted the first event, and it was just like a bonfire. It wasn't supposed to be a rave, but then they were playing rap music, and a lot of the kids were leaving. And then me and Dylan seen that, and we were like, okay, it's time to play host. And we played EDM for the first time. We were like, from now on, it's a rave. Yeah. And everyone started coming back. And then, so we did it again next week. And this time we started inviting people. And I built a 50-foot stage out of pallets and wood because I'm a carpenter. Used all of it for my job. Yeah. And then I even brought some speakers for my work as well. I built 3 or 4 dirt bike jumps that were jumping. We had motocross people come into the event, and they were jumping over the wall of the mine on these dirt bike jumps that we built. And last but not least, there's 2 more things. We built 2 zip lines as well. I built it from, I dreamt it, I designed it, and I built it myself. And it worked, and we didn't fall. But it was a 135-foot zip line. And there was 2 of them. But it went from a 45-foot tower to 135 feet out to a wall that was about 5 feet. And so we rode the zip line from the top of the tower and then just let go once we got close to the ground. But then we also learned fire breathing during that time. And so finally we host this event and we get 700 people, a little bit more than last time. But now everyone's calling us twins and evil twins, and the name starts to form right there because we looked alike, and because of our masks, they called us we looked almost evil, but it was like the happy and sad clown theatrical masks. That was the brand logo, basically.
Right.
And so at this time, we were realizing that we really liked performing and being in the center of the mosh pits and building up to the hype and giving them some kind of satisfactory like response to the drop, basically. And it kind of like, it's like a connection in the brain. It feels good, you know what I mean? You're expecting it, you build up, and then you give it to them. And that's just kind of like what made us performers. But yeah, so basically, the first event went really well, and shortly after that, the DJs that we had hired actually invited us to go to a licensed venue. And so shortly after that, we got our license to host events and sell tickets. And that was about 5 years ago. And so now we've moved all over the Las Vegas Strip area, just hosting major events.
How hard is it to get a license down there?
It's actually not hard. So the licenses that you need, obviously a business license, LLC, but you need a promoter's license to sell tickets. And so promoter's license is not very hard at all, just some paperwork, maybe a month you could have it done. Yeah. But yeah, just license you to sell tickets and other things over a ticketing website.
Is there a tax on tickets? Does Las Vegas take in the revenue that way?
There is a tax, but I don't think it comes from the state or the city. It comes from the actual ticketing person. Okay. And then the taxes you pay are what you take as profit after like at the end. You
just income.
Taxes, yeah.
Just income. Cool. So from that, how did you guys? That's pretty much what made Golden Soul Circus then, right?
Okay, so
you kind of flown into that.
Yeah, essentially, like we started there as Evil Twins Entertainment, and we did 3 years of that. And we weren't doing anything else. We were just building that name and brand for ourselves. And we had a lot of successes, a couple failures, but we were known as this controversial underground underdog brand that was basically giving the biggest brands in the city a run for their money. And because we were doing something so different, like you never see the hosts in the mosh pits or the hosts fire breathing on stage. You know what I mean? It is so like just our whole vibe was completely different. I'm sorry, what was your question again?
How did Golden Soul be created out of, did it come out of those raves?
Yeah, so we actually hosted one of the biggest desert raves in the last decade in Las Vegas, and we still hold the record. It might even extend further than 10 years. Yeah. But it was on 4th of July, 2020, Las Vegas, and it was on the news, actually. You guys can look it up if you like on Google.
Nice.
EDM.com did a review on it as well. It was very, very honorable of them, but what I was saying, basically we hosted that 4th of July event. 2,000 people came, and it inspired a fire tribe from San Diego to come out and visit and perform for the crowd. And at this time, me and Dylan were the only fire performers around. And so we only did like a Darth Maul fire staff, which is a double sword, and fire breathing. And so basically no one else was really, like we didn't really offer a circus for people to train or try it. And once that other fire troop from San Diego came out to our massive rave, they just started performing in the crowd, and we went up and started watching them. And for the first time ever, I seen that there's such a variety of props available that, you know, I'm definitely not the only one, and I'm just a beginner, and I only know a little bit. But fortunate for me and Dylan, fire breathing is actually one of the most dangerous acts of fire arts. So coming into the scene, we were already highly regarded because we were still rare as fire performers. Not everyone fire breathes, even if they spin. But there was a leader of this fire troupe. His name was Apollo. And Apollo was a purebred circus freak, like more so than I could ever be, because he was born and raised in there and just has lived in there his whole life. Yeah. So you can imagine his mind, like he's a pure ringleader. And he has some flaws as well, like some, you know, weaknesses when it comes to abuse or whatever for certain things, you know. But because of that, he couldn't really lead a business, but he was very creative and a very good ringleader, you know what I mean? So we meet, and he sees my following, and he shows me his art, and then we come together to show the ravers how to do fire spinning. And so for a while, he was doing it at this park called Charlie Frias Park on his own. And it was going well, and I started coming around and really just leading with him. And then I noticed that because of his flaws, he was taking advantage of the community. And so instead of choosing to lead, I was essentially being called to lead. And so this was new to me because usually I just do it for myself. I used to, but this was the first time that I had a community asking me to help them not be taken advantage of, because this guy was on the borderline of being exiled from the community because of his actions. Yeah. And so basically he came to me and was saying that the police didn't like him at the park because the fire was burning the grass, right? It's a big problem. So when he told me that, I brought him to a better place that didn't have any grass and had a burn pit. It was secluded from the city, surrounded by a natural mountain, perfect for a fire circus. And when I brought it there, it was around the time he actually got exiled for his actions, and I was the only one left standing. And so I realized that I didn't want to do events for myself. I wanted to do events for other people. And I love teaching, so this is my way of teaching people what I love and enjoying what comes naturally. And so around the first Wednesday of 2021, I started the name Golden Soul Circus, started an Instagram and email, and started telling everyone this is what to call us now, and started a new brand right there. And basically, we just took off. I mean, every single Wednesday for 60 weeks straight, we hosted a free, all-ages, family-oriented circus event where anyone could come and train and try fire arts for the first time. And because of that, now Las Vegas is flooded with fire performers. And so you might think that it might be a disadvantage for a fellow fire performer when trying to get bookings, that there is a huge amount of performers to choose from. So now, again, I level up and I think, okay, how can I collect and supply all of this talent? And so I created my own talent acquisition company. And so Golden Soul Circus was just like an unofficial gathering at first, a group, but then it started to evolve and I started to research all the different aspects of a talent acquisition company. And so there's management, hiring, and talent acquisition, the three major points. And so you see I have a surplus of people. And so this is why. It's because phase one is always in effect, and it's bringing in new people through the events. You host an event, and someone has never been there before, but they want to get more involved. They have like a lifespan of how much they would get involved. But you see often that life will happen. You know, people will get a girlfriend, they'll get married, they'll get a house, a job, and they'll pull out. But with the circus, it's more like it's not a party. It's not anything bad for them. In fact, these kids are going to the events to perform instead of do drugs now, right, which is my main goal as well. Yeah. That's why I didn't want to be stuck in the category of hosting raves, because I wanted to create health and wellness for people.
Yeah, because raves have we go there, do drugs, listen to music, folklore to them, right?
Yeah. When you say raves, it has a negative connotation. People try to paint me in a negative light because they don't understand, you know what I mean? But there is a lot of drugs and there is a lot of drug users, but not everyone is on drugs, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people like me, for example, who will just go to enjoy the music and barely drink, you know what I mean? Just to see my friends, because you don't need that. In reality, why take drugs when you enjoy your life? You know what I mean? You don't need to run from it. Just make a better life for yourself. Yeah. So that's how I see it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of your close friends are kind of the same way, right?
Yeah, a lot of the people on my working team are, and if they're not, they eventually work their way out. But I try to give everyone a chance, girl or boy, doesn't matter race or where they came from. It's equal opportunity in everything I create. Yeah. Because I know I came from nothing, so everyone else gets a chance too.
Yeah. So one of my favorite dudes I've met of yours is Trippy Hippie.
Oh, really?
Is he still working with you?
No, he's not actually.
Where'd he go?
He's defected. Yes.
Did you go back east?
No, he still is in Las Vegas. But like I said, life happens, you know what I mean? Yeah. People's mentalities change, and they'll switch up on you entirely if someone else is in their ear, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, but you just have to let them go and just be nice.
Well, I think a lot of your guys, too, you're young, right? So some of these guys, they find it fun and exciting or, maybe even somewhat of an escape, and then they've got to, life happens, right? So they got to kind of move.
But occasionally you'll find the people that are built to last, you know what I mean? And they're not only a circus performer and they're not an entrepreneur, but they're hardworking and they care and it aligns with their own personal goals. Yeah. And those are the people that, I bring in and I put under my wing and I give the most opportunities to.
Yeah. So are you able to do events outside of Las Vegas? Like
absolutely.
Anywhere in the world kind of thing? Or
So here's the thing. Basically, you can accomplish an event anywhere in the world without a license, even without a business license or a permit to sell tickets, basically, by using other people's. And so all it takes is like a contract. And so when you submit a proposal to the city, basically, so I forgot to mention this. Whenever you host an event, you have to submit a proposal to the city. Depending on how big the event is, you'll have to have like an extensive plan of every possibility. Like let's say, for example, the Travis Scott Festival, people got ran over, and his 21-page report, he didn't have anything for that. And that's why he was getting sued. So that's one of the things to consider for events is you have to create a proposal of everything you'll do in a negative outcome. And then the city has to approve or deny that based off of every detail. And you can submit more details. But during that, you could submit your licenses as well. They'll ask for it. And you can bring in a partner that's licensed in that area. instead of having to wait and go and get your license in that area, spend extra money to maintain it, you can just work with someone, collaborate, and it's good as good.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. What would be in Vegas, like if you were to like do like the best of the best of the best, what's the best venue to be at?
Personally, I would say Area 15.
Okay, so you're already there.
Yes.
Nice, cool.
So,
now, Area 15 is the big black warehouse thing right off the freeway, right?
Yes.
That you can see? Yeah.
Yes. So in short, Area 15 is a conglomerate of basically art. What is it, like a store, like merchandise kind of thing? It's a venue, it's a store, and it's an art gallery.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so a 3-piece thing. And it started with just one building created by Meow Wolf. They're from Santa Fe. They started 21 locations all over the U.S., including Area 15. And now only 3 are standing out of 21 because all of them failed. They went bankrupt, besides the ones that stuck. And Las Vegas is one of them.
Why is it still there?
I'm glad you asked. It's because Las Vegas is a hotspot for events. And so you'll see the biggest conventions, the biggest festivals, the biggest award ceremonies that you can imagine. And now professional sports teams as well are hosting events there. So with all of these events, sorry, one more. What was your question again?
The best, like basically the best event.
Oh, the best venue?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, no.
Oh, what is Area 15 exactly?
Yeah,
That's what I said. So, Area 15 started as the one building, but now they're welcoming all the other event curators, venue curators, and just creators in general to create their own art installation or venue in in conjunction with Area 15.
Yeah.
So Illuminarium is a venue that I'm working at currently. And so it's another warehouse right next to the Area 15 warehouse. It's literally just right across the street, but they're based out of Denver. And so they're their own Area 15 attraction that they're joining this plaza of business.
Right.
And so the idea is you bring more like-minded people into the same plaza, it'll bring more business overall.
So if you're a visitor, going down to Las Vegas, these are places you should go check out, right?
Absolutely.
Like every night there's an event. Every night there's something going on, no matter what.
Yes, sir. And there's multiple venues there, so you could spend maybe a full weekend just exploring everything to do at Area 15 alone.
Oh, very cool.
And it's just getting bigger.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty well, Area 15 is pretty well marketed, Like I've heard the name Meow Wolf, and I've never even been there.
Oh, yeah.
So
they chose Area 15 because of Area 51. It's a really easy marketable thing because Area 51 has the aliens and the mystery behind it. And so with their marketing of Area 15, they're like, what is Area 15? That's what their biggest question was when they were marketing it.
Right.
And I had actually seen that in 2019, and I went in there in 2020. It was February, and I put my name on the calendar for the first month of events ever at Area 15. And I got to see the calendar, and what was on it was humbling. So Insomniac, one of the biggest, who does EDC, Revelation, Collective Zoo, those are the other two that were the biggest in Las Vegas, and then Evil Twins Entertainment. And so it was just cool that, we were all thinking the same thing, but I didn't actually get to do an event there until this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so, basically it is a huge venue, and it costs a lot. Very corporate, and they do not budge on the price. They try to hardball you.
Yeah.
But that's why, if you come in a different way, it's easier. But for me, the only event that I actually got approved there, the third one, basically was the Las Vegas Cannabis Awards. And it was because of who was involved and how much money it was involved that they actually said yes.
And that was an event that you did over at the Sahara, right?
We started at the Hard Rock Cafe, then we went to Sahara for 2 years during COVID, and it was like only half capacity maybe because of that. But this year was the first full capacity since. And we had a sold-out event at Area 15. We used the main stage A-Lot, and then the secondary stage called the Lightbox as well.
Okay, cool. So how many people are attending that?
It was about 7,000.
Yeah, that's a big event.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
And it wasn't my event. I am just a partial owner of the Kushtalk stage, and I get to perform and hand out trophies and stuff like that, sell sponsors.
Yeah.
But it's Sheldon Cooper, All Access Vegas. Shout out him.
Yeah.
He's one of my biggest mentors, actually.
Yeah.
And so, he's brought me in like a little brother, and I've just been studying his work and trying to help him as much as I can. And he introduced me to conventions and trade shows.
Okay, cool.
Which is way bigger than raves.
Yeah, yeah. So what makes him good at what he does?
Well, I could give you one fact off tops that comes straight to mind. So he taught me that tickets are an illusion. And so why would you charge people to go to your event if you want them to go there? I mean, yeah, you want to make money, but nobody wants to pay to go to an event. Realistically, they want to go for free. they want to spend money when they get there. So he taught me to give tickets out for free. Make them, like, create an event, create a $60 ticket, sell them, but also give them out to everyone you meet in person for free. Now, when you give somebody a $60 ticket, they're like, wow, you actually just gave me $60. Like, this is valuable. Now I have an obligation to go. But the best thing about giving out a free ticket is you still make your money, but it's all about how you make your money. So let's say if you're going to make money off of tickets, you'll maybe make a few thousand or so, however much you sell, but it's still small change compared to what you could be doing. And so let's say if you gave out 1,000 tickets and then you walked up to Jardine, a dispensary in Vegas, and you say, I have an event with bud tenders, 1,000 people, the building's going to be packed. I want to give you a sponsorship package that includes like your branding over this stage and all the performers and during the sets. And they'll pay thousands of dollars, $25K, we'll say, for example, just for that. And now your ticket money is only like, let's say, $5,000 in comparison. And so $25,000 not only pays for all of your expenses, but now you have extra profit to make sure the sponsor's happy, and you can take all the ticket money after. So,
nice.
And you gave out the tickets. It's easy to sell out an event that way.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to sell it, really.
So are most of your events, they're all pretty sold out then, right?
Yeah, some are, some aren't. You know what I mean? It depends on if we have competition. And I'll be honest, I've been growing. So, I'm not the biggest event organizer yet. Yeah. But I've been learning all these strategies. And now that I'm at Illuminarium, it's going to be sold out events from now on.
Yeah.
Because the difference is I'm working with corporate now. And so their marketing strategy is the most evolved that I've ever seen in the world. And I thought I was evolved because I was thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
But they're much more developed than I am. So now, I'm learning from venues, I'm learning from promoters, and eventually I'll have sellout events no matter what event I go to. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And being an event promoter is really your ultimate goal, right? Is to be the biggest one in Vegas?
At a time, I never really thought that was my final goal. What I mean? I'm one to achieve and then keep going. If there's breath to breathe, I'll be doing something. So.
Oh, very cool.
I like events, and I'll never stop it because of the premise that you can meet anyone through this. So I'll use my events as a tool to meet them and start other businesses.
Yeah.
But it's just the beginning because. Obviously there's much more to do inside the events industry besides sell tickets as well.
Yeah. And you've spun off some other businesses already.
That's right.
So, including?
So, basically, I first created Evil Twins, and I started thinking what other industries help support the ticket sales and event industry. And so I started creating what I like to call complementary businesses because one of my mentors told me that if you could supply yourself with the product that you're distributing, then not only do you get it cheaper, but you could tax everything off.
Yeah.
And so I just started thinking more about this. And so from events, the first thing that I created after that was the staffing agency. I created 2 staffing agencies. One was Golden Soul Circus and one was OG Stage Productions. So one's for play and entertainment and one's for work and building and shows and stage production rental as well.
Yeah.
But basically, if I had a labor force and a production equipment like rental service and also performers, not only could I be unique, but I would have the lowest prices and, basically, like I'll have the best of the best shows because I own the company. I can make the best show for myself. Mm-hmm. And, it just kept going from there. Now I'm on to food and beverage and also oil and gas. All of my businesses are distribution, basically.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it, I'm building a utility belt for myself. And as I create these events and I walk into these rooms with all these entrepreneurs and businessmen and women, then I offer them all these different things that I have on my belt. And so like the more things I have on my belt, the more likelihood I'll have of closing a deal and building with them. So that's the whole purpose. Build my belt, keep building events, and keep meeting more people and connecting the dots.
So tell us about oil and gas. How does that fit into an event?
So let's say if we do a large scale event and you need a lot of generators, then all of those generators need gas as well. And all of the vehicles, all the shuttles, all the, anything like that. It is a smaller deal to supply yourself, but it would save, if I wanted to do something big, like develop a festival land, like I could do that with that as well.
Yeah.
But the main reason why I started oil and gas is not only to supply myself, but to meet people, because I know that the way I have it set up is I'm not holding any stock. I'm just connecting, consumers with distributors. Mm-hmm. And so I'm creating residual contracts. And I would basically collect a residual check every month or so, every quarter. And they just basically set up new distribution for all products. So I could do it for myself, or I could do it for the people who would help me.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, I'm working on Ahern right now, Ahern Rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could get that one, that's like a nationally recognized brand, international, I should say. But they do business in all of the U.S. So we'd have to work through their lessors to get up to them. And then finally, when they say we've been vetted, then basically, we'll get their distribution deal. And that would be huge. You know what I mean? That's huge right there. So
yeah, oh no, absolutely. That would be a massive client. So cool. How do you find, well, let's talk about your food and beverage one. What are you doing in the food and beverage industry?
So at events, you see a lot of people eating and drinking, not necessarily alcohol. That's the next thing. But to be clear, the food and beverage business that I'm working on is non-alcoholic. That takes a separate license. But once you get this license, you can distribute any food or any beverage that's, accessible to 18 plus or whatever.
Yeah.
Without getting any other further permits or licensing. Like you can just call a company that makes a product and say, do you have a distribution in Nevada? They say no. Okay, let's set up a deal. I buy this much from you. You ship it to my storage unit. I pick it up and I deliver it to all the venues I work for.
Yeah.
And so the person I'm buying this company for, basically I'm looking at his inventory list and, it's good. But he was only targeting one type of people. And he told me to kind of steer clear of retail a little bit because the margins aren't that great. But still, there's so many other places you could hit besides a bar for energy drinks. That's basically the one product that he has on his distribution license right now.
Yeah.
But he's the direct distributor for all of Nevada. So basically, when I buy this business, I'll inherit that. I'll have to go to these conventions and show face and represent the brand. And so, the whole idea, though, is that you pick up a product and then you try to bring it to a consumer place that has like a bar or, a fridge or something like that. And as they consume, they just buy it from you. And it's another residual thing, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I've invested in one of your businesses.
That's right.
What did we do?
So we bought a bunch of merchandise, basically for Golden Soul Circus, and that included sweatpants, T-shirts, bags, masks, and bandanas. And we were able to basically distribute that all across the team there, and we were able to make a profit and basically reevaluate. And now we're going to move forward to getting the licensing and starting the circus tent at a venue.
Yeah.
So it was really huge on building awareness. Still to this day, I go out to events and I'll see shirts everywhere of Golden Soul Circus, and it's such a topic starter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like perfect. It's like perfect marketing.
Yes.
So what was it like raising money from me?
Well, which part exactly? You mean?
Like when you asked.
Okay. Well, coming to you, basically, you are a very advanced businessman, and you also look for investments, which is very rare, actually. People of nobility, they have sometimes a problem taking chances on the underdog. And it's because it's high risk, but it's high reward too sometimes if you find the right person.
Yeah.
And so I knew when I met you that I had a good chance of making business with you because you took that chance on me. And so, I brought something that was really important to me, and you took that chance, and I worked hard to make sure that I came through on my end. And I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm here today to, continue our business, and I'm happy to be here.
No, it's kind of a fun thing for me, exactly, because I do all sorts of big deals, small deals, medium deals all the time. And I think because of how hard you worked for me, when we've hired you guys to go, move courts and stuff, when you asked me for the money, I was just like, sure, go do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You didn't bat an eye.
Yep.
But I made sure not to take that lightly.
Yeah.
Because it is not a light thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I mean, and you're young and you're already doing great things. There's going to be a lot of really, really, really cool things I'm going to be able to get involved in over the years. So it's almost like we invested in, the merchandise stuff, but really it's kind of like investing in you and kind of a long-term thing. Do you feel that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I knew that from the beginning.
Yeah.
I knew that you weren't investing in the merchandise. You were investing in me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And so now we're going to roll that money into something else, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think we will. So, and it's in the energy drink business, correct?
Yes. So it's actually much broader than that, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about now.
Yeah.
So basically, let me start from this. Like I said, you don't have to get any further licensing or permits or anything to distribute any other food or beverage. So this guy's making, let's say, $1,000 a month off his current deals for one energy drink that he's distributing to bars and venues across Las Vegas.
Yeah.
minimal work. That's only 10 deals. I go out for 6 months, I'll lock in another 100 deals. And so that'll, tenfold that, easy. But then we pick up other products. Let's say, you know Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
He just dropped his energy drink called Prime. Let's say Prime doesn't have a distributor in Nevada. Call Logan Paul up and say, hey, I want to be your direct distributor. He says, okay. After a bunch of negotiation, maybe he'll say yes. And then now everyone hears about Prime because Logan Paul's famous. So they want that in their store because they know the kids will buy it. And so it's easy sell right there. Boom. Now you're only making like 20 to 25 or so % margins. You have to like obviously buy the product in bulk and ship it and then distribute it, same procedure.
Yeah.
But, the margins change based off of the deals you present them. This guy's running like a 4-for-1 promo for his cases of energy drinks. So you get 4 and you buy one you get one for free. And so there's like 5 different flavors, You just create like a marketing strategy and just kind of work on it, calling places up or walking them in yourself and just trying to set them up.
Yeah. So are you going to have a team go and do that, or are you going to do it yourself? Or?
So I was going to say too, if you had any food or beverage companies that you wanted to help distribute, this would be a way to expand that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember you brought me to a bar place that you did a basketball court renovation for.
Yeah.
That would be an example of a product that we could distribute with this license.
Oh, cool.
So
cool.
something like that,
Yeah, one thing we haven't discussed actually is I own a company called Free Flow Brands where we build brands, spirit brands for individuals, mostly influencers. So if someone wants a rum or a tequila or a whiskey or whatever, and they want to brand it themselves, we actually build those brands for them and then distribute them all over the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So very familiar with the food and beverage industry.
I'm just getting involved, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could sell food and water and air, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone uses it.
Absolutely. No, and doing that stuff at your venues are super cool in the events that you guys put on. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I love the, we call it verticals a lot, right? You kind of have your core business and little verticals you can put off, and then sometimes there's side businesses, but it seems like most of the things you're getting involved in are very directly related to the core, kind of building a big conglomerate. And
on that note, I have noticed during COVID that events is not a essential business.
Right.
So that's when I created Golden Soul Circus. It was when we couldn't do large-scale events that I started going to private high-scale events and performing myself. And so it changed the narrative, but, it was the same thing essentially. But now when COVID's over, now we're performers, we're event organizers, and we have all these different talents. And so my main point here was I want to avoid building things that are not essential. I want to build my companies to be built to last. And I want to be able to beat the recession as they come. And so all of my businesses are designed not to fail during those times as well. Just because, if the world went back to that for some reason, I would still have business. I would still have plenty to do.
Yeah, no, that was a crazy time in our economy, and that's why we're feeling the effects of it right now. We shut down businesses left and right, and no matter how you feel about it, we shut them down. As the world really. But yeah, it affected a lot of people. There's a lot of people probably in the same shoes thinking, how the heck am I going to make money? I don't have any control over this. And so, the very few guys like you have gone out there and built a whole bunch of verticals and figured out a way that, if this ever happens again, I'm not going to be left exposed, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important to have a backup, That's why, I started carpentry and I now do stage production, but if shows ever stop, I still have work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember your question. I plan on opening up an office to put all of these businesses in, and I'm really excited for this. But I've been careful how to spend my money over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to put $20,000 down on a house, but I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to just continue to build and live like a nomad in a way. Yeah. And I'm going to basically get an office that's also attached to a venue, but is also attached to the property that I can establish a circus tent.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So the Rockstar Bar is where I've been hosting events. I did like 4 events there, and they're one of the venues that I help bring promoters to and help ensure the success of their events for. And basically, it's a 2-story place, and it's like a Top Golf scenario where they have a huge golf course right outside the venue and a driving range right from there, and then a festival field and a parking lot right there as well. So right underneath the first floor is completely empty office space. And so I'm going to pitch them, hey, I want to start a lease under your lease so it's cheaper than getting my own from the landlord.
Yeah.
And basically do events for you guys, host all of my businesses in this office, and then also host a circus right outside.
Yeah.
So it's the cheapest. It's all together in one. It's right on the strip. And that should be basically the start of everything for me, which is coming shortly after today.
Yeah, super efficient. No, I love that. So what do you think, what was the best way for you to learn like business principles?
So after I had went out and ventured basically into the world alone, like that was the best thing that could have happened to me, because instead of having parents tell me I can't do something, I was always the rebellious kid that was just doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And, it led me into some trouble, but, eventually it led me into some great things as well. And that's life, you know what I mean? But,
so I think one question is, you left home at 14. Have you reconciled with your family, or are they past memories?
I didn't have a choice. It was either go out to Vegas or be split up through foster care with my siblings. And so I had to go with my extended family and kind of watch over my siblings from a distance.
Yeah.
And from 14 to now, basically, I've just been going out into Vegas and mentoring with all the people that are like-minded or people I admire. And as you can imagine, a lot of people in Las Vegas are fugazi, right?
Yeah.
They'll sell you your dreams just to make you work for them.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of youth and a lot of ambition, so naturally I work for people that try to sell me my dreams. But I learned a long time ago not to do that, and to recognize it when I see it, and to only work when it's good, you know what I mean? Because I know my value. I know that I can make it happen, and I'm not going to jump for anyone if they're not real.
Yeah.
So eventually I found some real people, and I just stayed close to them over the years. And even though my other partners, my other friends were distracted and lost contact, I stayed in contact with these people. And it's the only reason why I've amounted to this today.
Yeah.
Like Illuminarium at Area 15, for example. Random shuttle guy driving in the desert raves in a nice luxury van with four-wheel drive wheels and stuff. I walked up to him. I'm like, I admire your ambition, bro. I didn't invite you, but you're out here shuttling the people to the stage. I'm like, you're a good man. I stayed in contact with him, and now he's running the Area 15 Illuminarium.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have to pay for events. He puts me on.
Yeah.
So that's a huge opportunity that everyone in the city's fighting for. But I got it for free, just a call.
Yeah.
Because of how I acted and how I treated that guy for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Followed up with him.
Yeah, I mean, you get the principle of networking, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, I always talk about true networking, right? Like, you're really never asking. A lot of people think that networking is, you go to a dinner, you meet with somebody, and then you call them up 2 days later and ask them for money. You know what I mean? Really, networking is you have to have experiences with people. You have to meet them, you have to have an experience that was positive, and then you can kind of get into the circle where it's like, hey, these are the cool things I'm doing. And then they come to you and basically say, hey, I want to get involved.
Exactly.
That's
why I love to create events for people. You know what I mean? Especially in a business setting when everyone comes all suited up, because, they're going out either for their birthday or whatever, and you create that experience for them.
Yeah.
And then they come to you naturally. You don't even have to, you attract it instead of chasing it.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Attract it. That was very cool. So, hey, like we discussed before the podcast, now's the time, man. Give us your best 2 minutes of advice.
All right. Well, let's see here. I'm just going to have to go through it a few times probably.
Yeah, you're good, man.
So a good saying that I like is, they taught me how to be strong in a hard world, right? Is that the strong take from the weak, but the smart take from the strong. And that's a very strong and empowering statement right there that I've lived by for a long time. Because, I've lived through the ghettos and stuff. Like, it's no problem to me. I've actually enjoyed it, you know what I mean? Because of that mentality. Whenever I get bullied, I bully the bully. And I equalize the situation, always, because I just want to see everyone succeed and build and be happy and have a good life, you know what I mean? Because it's already hard enough out there. So I guess next saying, definitely just follow your dreams. You know what I mean? It's definitely hard to stick with your dreams long term because it doesn't always pay you very well, but you always have to work that 9 to 5 to supply your dreams. And that's definitely one of my biggest advices. Is there was times where I want to quit. I don't want to go to work. I want to just go have fun and do what I like to do. But you'll never make it unless you can supply it with real money and have that same business ethics to go to work even if you don't want to, because that's a CEO. They have to do every single job from start to finish at least once before someone else gets to take it over. So you have to be able to do every single job and do it because even if no one else is helping you, you know what I mean. You just got to do it for yourself. But let's see if I can come up with another one real quick.
Yeah, you're good, man. I like it.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, so here's another good one. Just because you might not know that there's a way to earn money legally and build businesses for yourself and a generational wealth, Basically, there are always ways. And instead of investing in the business, invest into the knowledge yourself, because it's important to know exactly what you're doing before you go spend the money on mistakes. So that's another big piece of advice. I've spent thousands on consultation fees now, and who inspired me to do that? Donald Trump. I seen his tax reviews, and it said like 50,000 or 500, something crazy on unexplained consultation fees the year he became president. So out of everything he spent, that's probably the most important. And so that's something that I take is really high value, is that I invest into knowledge more than anything, because that's something you could take with you forever. No one can take it from you. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
3 good pieces right
Yeah,
there.
very good, very good. Well, hey, thank you for coming on the podcast, dude. Maybe one day when I gain a following, this will be one of my best.
Oh, man. I would love to see it in years to come, and I'll help build it as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Brandon.
Thank you, Mark. An honor.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.